Awesome. Great. Thanks for hosting us today. Um, well, I thought I was coming to Canada for some cool weather. I'm sweating like Gensler at a Trump cabinet meeting here. So, um, not sure what's up with that. No, we love you, Canada. Maybe it's not too soon. Was it too soon for a Trump joke? We still love you guys. Um, okay, so I'm gonna be a little bit kinetic about this. I don't know what the deal with questions is, but I'm happy to field questions at the end if we have time. Um, so we're with the Manifest Network. I'm the CEO, Eric Breivik. We're building a sovereign cloud for the entire crypto ecosystem. Um, I am an old world AI guy and startup guy. Been doing it a very long time. Uh, I've touched a ton of stuff in AI, ton of stuff in crypto, ton of stuff in internet infrastructure. You can find me pretty much anywhere at eBreivik, and there's my Signal. If you want to get in touch with me, try to use Signal and try to meet me at least once. I'll be around the rest of the day. Okay, so a little bit of background here about why AI specifically is so important, not only to crypto, but to the entire world. If you look at the history of humanity, we've had different epochs that took different amounts of time to unfold. So it took hundreds of thousands of years to organize basic tool use for humanity. It took tens of thousands of years to standardize that and get small city state like things. It took thousands of years to create agrarian economies and to settle larger cities. It took hundreds of years for factories to develop, which is large scale automation of those standardized tool sets. It took only tens of years for software to take control of that entire infrastructure. So there is nothing in manufacturing almost 100% penetration controlled by software. It is only a few years that AI is eating all of software. Have we noticed a theme here? The theme is the speed of progress of these revolutions. So the coming AI revolution will be fast and furious. It is here now, and it is taking over because it is taking over the control point for the rest of the world, which is software. And if anybody doesn't believe that, if you're a software developer, just look at the halving of the amount of software left that is not written by AI. It was halving every 3 months a couple of months ago. It's now halving every 6 weeks. It's going to be halving every 3 weeks within a few weeks, and so on. So we'll asymptotically approach 100% of software being written by AI. So as was mentioned earlier, what is one of the fundamental problems with decentralization right now? What happens when AWS US East 1 goes down, right? 65% of all Ethereum projects go down. Why is that? That's crazy. Why is that? Well, if you don't control your if you don't control your infrastructure, right? You don't actually control your decentralized network either. Someone else can ultimately shut you down. So where we're progressing here too, and I want to be clear about this, is if you're worried about AI, if you're thinking about AI, that's running on infrastructure. If your infrastructure isn't sovereign, your AI isn't sovereign, right? If your AI isn't sovereign, it doesn't work for you. So who does it work for? And what are their agendas? You won't even understand what their agendas are, and it'll run your life. So this is a common problem statement, for us, is right now a couple of companies control basically 76% of the world's infrastructure, right? So that doesn't look too good. There's the chart. You guys kind of get this if you're in decentralization already, but largely the industry has ignored this problem because there wasn't a good solution. And believe me, I've been at most of the projects that have tried to create a solution to this. That's why we came up with Manifest. So the big problem with the current round of DPINs, and again, not talking bad about them, these are all my friends. I've been at half of these projects. We're working with most of these projects right now to up the game, is fully permissionless networks that are built out of rando hardware in people's basements is not enterprise grade. Most businesses cannot use that for a variety of reasons, which is almost every use case in the world. So you can play around with it, but the bottom line is it's not going to service any computational workloads for real businesses, which control everything in your life. So what's the answer? We built the Manifest network, which is an L0 network. We operate below the level of all the L1s that you see. The L1s are our partners in this case. So we have an L1, we have a chain. It's largely for accounting and intermediate functions. But most of our workloads are tokenized on another L1. And that's our strategy. That's on purpose. We've created a sovereign cloud on top of that. This is all the services that you would expect at an AWS, right? So forget like trying to get something computed on an L1. It doesn't compute anything, right? You can't send an AI workload to, I don't know, Ethereum, right? So you need something else to do your computation. We've created a sovereign cloud, which is our answer for AWS. On top of that, we've created Manifest AI, which is the set of AI tooling and standardized AI interfaces that you need to work with most of your common models. Underneath that, we have something new, which has been our hottest sell-through ever so far. It was amazingly successful. We did not know it was going to be successful. It was an accident. It's called Project Bedrock. Through our fund operations, we started acquiring EMP shielded data center operations for various reasons that I won't go into now because they're boring and financial and nobody wants to hear that stuff. But the bottom line is we started acquiring EMP shielded bunkered data centers throughout the United States, and we started moving crypto infrastructure into it. And the pitch is basically, if you really, really want ultra secure infrastructure, how about validators that survive nuclear war? How about validators that survive a Carrington event, right? So most data centers in the world are unshielded. We get a sustained large-scale Carrington event. You will wipe out almost every L1 on the planet, right? We have the solution for that, and we thought it would be a niche sale. Turns out all of our customers want this. These are all full already. We're acquiring more of them now. So just a smattering of partners and groups that we work with. I just did a quick survey. At this point today, approximately 30% of the top 100 on CoinMarketCap use us somewhere. So we either have a deal with them, we're running their infrastructure somehow, they're sending workloads to us, we're in a workload sharing agreement, whatever it is. So we have largely been operating quietly in private beta. The reason for our being quiet up to this point is because the largely L1s do not want to announce that their workloads are going to us. We understood that for a long time, and so we've captured about 30% of the top 100 at this point, and we've now got CMOs and CROs and all that kind of stuff. So we're maturing a bit, and we are going to be doing press releases with all of those organizations over the next year as they want to tell their story using our infrastructure for their customers and use cases. Okay, so some stats here and stuff. Doesn't really matter. We can move past this, but we're about to hit 1 million ARR. on our core platform. That's our alpha platform. We haven't tabulated our beta platform at all yet, and so that's not included in the numbers. But that's just kind of order of magnitude us about what's going on the back end. As we collect all the statistics and go through all of our announcement windows, we will be able to announce the rest of our L1 partners, and you'll see that shoot up quite significantly. We've also pulled out the numbers for anyone who doesn't want to be outed right now. So, okay, so if you're here and you haven't been living under a rock, you know the coming impact of AI. It would be kind of like a standard Web 2 analysis of how big this is going to be. And Adam, our wonderful CRO over here, did this slide for us. Not to bag on Adam, but I think this is wildly underestimating what's going to happen. So I will call out really quickly a funny little story. You guys all know who the Wright brothers are? Right? You all know that they invented powered flight, or supposedly, right? If you believe the stories. They're on record as saying, basically, well, the use case for this is we think the Army wants to strap some machine guns onto these things, and they'll probably have a limited use in warfare, but that's really about all we're thinking airplanes will be useful for, right? So inventors often radically underestimate their own inventions and the impacts of them. So does anyone here think that, maybe strapping a machine gun on a plane was the only use for a plane, right? Like, clearly they could not even envision what was going to happen. AI is that times a geometric proportion. This AI is quite possibly the last human invention. And it will generate more value in the next 10 years than all of human history before this. So get ready for that acceleration plane. If you're interested in that this week, I'm giving a couple more talks and panels, including here, that will be follow-ups on AI accelerationism and what's about to happen and where all the things that are about to radically change. Many of which are surprising, but at Manifest, we're working with many of these groups in biotech and so forth and so on. So we're getting a front row picture to what is about to happen, and it will either scare the shit out of you or it will something. Maybe it'll give you hope. Maybe it'll scare you to death. Maybe both at the same time. Oh, yeah. So this is our kind of obligatory, if you want to know about the token. This is our basic tokenomics. We're going to be having a public listing event here as soon as we sort it out. And anything, I don't know the latest on the sale, so anything else you wanted to say? Oh, okay, we're working on our deal with DNA here, so we'll announce that at a future thing. Okay, so I wanted to make this kind of quick and didn't want to bore anybody. So, how does this format work? Do we take questions? Do we want questions? Yes. Okay, questions.
So your concept is to take this enterprise grade decentralized AI. So trying to find data centers that are willing to participate into a high level of compute that's available. So instead of like what a BitTensor or like a Shoots is doing, you're looking for enterprise level of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we came at this from an entirely different perspective. So there's plenty of compute that runs the world. The problem isn't the compute and how it's technically laid out. It is technically incredibly efficient. In fact, it is a marvel of human engineering that we can compute at the scale that we can compute right now. And simply saying, I'm going to build some node software, which I can do in 10 minutes, right? Customize it, put it on 100 computers or 1,000 or 10,000 or a million in people's basements, and get enterprise grade compute is just, from a physics standpoint, is silly. That just doesn't work. It doesn't work on like 50 different metrics. So we took the entire opposite approach. We knew there was captured infrastructure at all the major data centers that were already optimized for AI workloads that were simply not owned or controlled correctly in a decentralized fashion. So what we did is partnered with all those data centers and owners of that hardware, built a layer 0 protocol that tokenizes and monetizes all that underlying infrastructure, then offers it to the L1s to do offloaded compute in a truly decentralized fashion. So, for example, in the simplest case, if you're running a node software style L1 and you don't want to be vulnerable, we can give you, say, 300 independently owned and operated nodes with the click of a button, right? Rather than going to AWS and saying, well, I'm going to stand up 300 nodes, right? Well, but if AWS decides tomorrow that you don't exist, you don't exist, right? So that's not control. You don't have control. And anyone who's ever been kicked off of Google or AWS, which many of our customers have been, knows this. Once that wheel starts grinding, you don't have control, and you don't have any. This is not like a legal thing. It's not like you can't sue them. You can't appeal to them. Like, you're just done. You're just shut off, right? So if you want to protect yourself, you need enterprise grade compute, right? You need AI computed at the speed that it can be computed in AWS and Web 2, but you need it decentralized. So we decentralized ownership and control through sovereign POA. So we use a tiered federated POA infrastructure that's much like a federal, state, local government kind of concept to control the hardware that's already existing in major data centers throughout the world and repurpose it to be truly decentralized. Because when you own a POA for a piece of hardware, you control it, even though it's in their data center. So was that a good answer to that question? Oh, yeah, we actually have to limit the induction program quite significantly. We have a long waiting list of those people. Infrastructure is not our problem. We can onboard any amount of infrastructure we want. This is actually the classic problem with DPINs is they organize around a supply side concept. That's not interesting. And I have bursted most of people's bubble in the, in this room about this. So for those of you who already know me, sorry to bring it up again, but if you're organized around supply, you've done it wrong. You need to organize around demand. That is the only way. You must standardize the demand side. Then you supply based on that standard. So one of the reasons we spent 3 years in private alpha is we had to organize the demand side. That's the only way this scales. It's the only way it works long term. Yeah, Drew.
I just want you to what's up, buddy? I want you to tap into the demand a little bit further. Like, what are you most excited about in terms of driving the demand and the next wave of demand? Like, what inspires you on the demand side?
Well, there's lots of things. Do you want more the AI future answer to that, or the? Oh, so a lot of the most exciting stuff is in DeSci. So decentralized science, decentralized biotech. Yeah, I know we have some fans of my talks about this here. So we deal a lot with DeSci and decentralized material science, decentralized chemistry, biotech, etc. There's super exciting things coming here. And in fact, most of the barriers that you think of now as barriers in these industries are actually going to be solved through AI very shortly. So, for example, how long have we been working on exoskeletons, right? Especially for disabled people. It's been 40 years, right? With almost no improvement, despite the fact that material science in that time has moved leaps and bounds. So where has all the progress come from in the last 6 months? You attach an AI, a local AI set of models, which are not LLMs, by the way, but there are other types of AI infrastructure to the EXO. It learns from you and you learn from it cooperatively in a loop, and it becomes your individual medical accessory that knows specifically how to be the exoskeleton for you, right? That has been the breakthrough. That is what caused it to work. And there's 1,000 more examples in biotech that are being enabled right now, where we will have a breakthrough due to AI that has been waiting 30, 40, 50, 60 years from a fundamental technology standpoint. These companies are working with us somewhat because there are, I don't want to get too Orwellian here, but let's just say if you're in America and you're in the medical device industry, how long is it for you to get approved when Glaxo is on the other side or Siemens is on the other side of the equation, right? So Siemens has an exoskeleton it wants to sell you that it's been developing for 30 years. And by God, they're going to be the only one that sells you that. But I got 10 startups on the network that can deliver that today. So they don't want to be at AWS because they know what's going to happen to them, right? Siemens is going to wreck them, right? So, and again, I don't like waxing negative on these things. That's a very positive outlook there, right? That's what gets me excited about this infrastructure overall, is not just that we can make the promise of decentralization happen for 30% currently of the L1s, top 100 L1s operating out there, but that we can make real world impact through AI in a decentralized fashion at the speed of AI, unlocking these teams to work in a way that they could not work previously. Is that a fair answer to that question? Okay. Are we out of time? Okay, sorry, we're not out of time, but I'll be around for the rest of the day. And I don't know where I'm going next, but yeah. Okay. Thank you.